The Maze Runner. I didn't expect to like it. I did though. I'm so happy that I did because of course it's a book series. Of course it's a series of young adult novels and it's going to be a saga and it's going to be epic and all that. And I'm sure that they're going to split the last book into two movies. That's a given. But it was much more than I thought it would be. Both the movie and the books, because I actually read them this summer in anticipation of the movie, because I saw that they hired a lot of actors that I actually like Jojen Reed from Game of Thrones, Styles from Teen Wolf, who's really adorable, and Kaya Scodelario, who I'm a huge fan of. She is Effie in Skins. So I was like, I'm in. And I read the books in preparation for the movie, and I actually really, really enjoy them. They're one of those books that you just can't stop reading. There's just so much going on, and there's always twists and turns. And it's a lot more than just a group of boys in a maze. That's just the first movie in the first book. It's just the beginning. Things get crazy, everything gets out of control, and there's a lot more going on. Sort of like the Hunger Games. It starts off with just being the Hunger Games, but then it becomes this big political crazy scheme. And now we're at the point where Mockingjay just came out, and it's a giant revolution. So, yeah, same thing with Maze Runner. It starts off small in the maze, but then you start to learn what happens outside. They did a really good job of adapting it. I think it was 2 hours. I don't think it was more than 2 hours, but it felt fast. It went by really quickly. I was really into it. It wasn't boring at all. They got all the important parts down. I was actually surprised that they didn't mess it up, because usually people tend to mess up these kinds of adaptations, but I was really impressed with it. They did a really good job. And one thing that really impressed me was the fact that the running was actually really well done. It was intense, and you wanted them to be okay. And you want that in a movie called The Maze Runner. You want to be intense running scenes. So they definitely delivered on that part. The acting was okay. It was fine. The characters were well put together, I think, compared to the book. And I mean, it's not a long book, so it's pretty easy to adapt. The next books, though, they still are pretty short, but they have a lot of content in them. A lot of things happen, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of new characters and developments and crazy schemes. So they did a good job with this one, because it's a very straightforward story. Thomas arrives, he becomes a runner, let's get out of this maze, done. But after that, a lot of things happen, so I'm a bit, I'm excited to see the next movies, but I'm a bit worried that they won't be as good. I hope I'm wrong, I'm hoping for the best. But at the end, and I won't spoil the ending, I won't say anything, but at the end of the Maze Runner movie, if you haven't read the books, you'll probably think that's bullshit. You will probably think that that was ridiculous, and that didn't make sense, and it was silly, and it was out of nowhere, and you have no idea what's happening now. It felt very rushed. The ending is literally the last 5 minutes, and they just throw this information at you, and you have no idea what's going on. That works in the books, just because you can read the second one right after. Which is what I did. I got to the ending of the first one and I was like, what is this? And I just immediately started the second one, and it was awesome. Having the whole story presented to you at once is fantastic, because you can just plow through it, all 3 books. There's a prequel as well, which was okay, but mainly the trilogy is fantastic. But with the movies, you're not given the whole information at once. You have to wait. So I can definitely see people getting turned off by the ending, but what I've mostly seen is people are happy with the movie. People enjoyed it, even if they didn't like the ending, which is all that matters. And I hope more people see it. It was really fun and well done. There was one shot that I didn't like. I always hate handheld cameras and how shaky they are, and it looks like Cloverfield. And there was one shot when they were hiding in the glades, and it looked ridiculous. There was like a few seconds where the camera was everywhere, and I was like, was that intentional? Really? Was that really intentional? Because first of all, it doesn't fit with anything else in the movie. Second of all, it looks awful. So was this a conscious decision? Was this an error in editing? Did someone fall asleep and accidentally hit file 3 instead of file 4? Yeah, that's my only complaint. And that's it. I actually enjoyed the way the ending was done. It's a bit different from the movie. I mean, it's the same ending, but it's a different presentation, I guess. And I really enjoyed it. I think it had an impact as well. And that's all I can say. The Maze Runner, it was fun. I liked it a lot. It was a really solid adaptation. They hit all the important parts. I don't remember all the details from the books, the first or the second or the third, because I read them so quickly in such a short period of time. It sort of jumbled up, but I remember how I felt about them, and I remember that I really enjoyed them, and I can say the same thing for this movie. I really, really liked it, and I hope that they can do a good job with the next 2 movies, but I mean, I have faith. If they did a good job in the first one, they'll probably do a good job in the second and third. Hunger Games is a perfect example of a solid adaptation and people loving it, so I hope that the Maze Runner will be the same thing. It suffers from coming out right now, after Twilight and Hunger Games and Divergent and 50 Shades of Grey and all these ridiculous sagas and novels, and it's a bad timing for it, especially after The Giver. That was ridiculous, and Ender's Game. Those were awful movies, and I guess it suffers from that. I wish it had come out sooner. I wish it had come out when Hunger Games was coming out, not when Hunger Games is finishing, because I feel like people might say, oh, it's just another one of those, I'm not interested, Hunger Games is done, I'm not gonna start a new thing. So I can definitely see it suffering from that, but it's actually really good. Don't judge it until you see it. The books are really fun as well, and that's all I can say. Maze Runner, 2 thumbs up, and that's it.